Dapat pag nasa korte ka, di ba? Pag magbanggit ka ng Supreme Court ruling, sasabihin mo yung ruling na yon, mag-specify mo kung ano yung ruling na yon. Di ba? Ganun dapat pag ang patakaran, being a lawyer.
Well, preferably, Mr. Chairman.
Di ba? Preferably.
Yeah.
Dapat. Pag nasa korte pa lang tayo, kung akong judge, pinagalitan na kita, sinabulan kita, baka pinalabas na kita sa korte. Kasi you're not doing your homework, babanggit-banggit ka ng Supreme Court ruling, tapos ngayon, tatanungin ko sa'yo, anong ruling na yon, anong GR number yun, hindi mo mabigay. Kung ako...
Vino Kulafu, Vino Kulafu.
With your permission, I want to pursue sana yung nabuksan nyo kanina about that participation of the Chinese national.
Go ahead, Senator Wade. Sorry.
Yeah, that's an interesting discovery, Mr. Chair, by yourself. I was listening intently earlier. So right now, the Filipinos own 60%, correct? But under that shareholder agreement, the meetings cannot be organized if the Chinese will not agree. Tama ba?
Theoretically, Mr. Chairman.
So for
Same
example,
thing with the Filipinos.
no. For example, a quorum, you will only need 51%, correct?
That's correct.
So
Mr. Chairman.
theoretically, the Filipinos can organize by themselves to convene the board.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
But because of that provision, they cannot.
Well, they still can, Mr. Chairman. It's just that in order for any board meeting to occur,
No.
there should be a notice. So you have to
Yeah.
specify-
Siyempre, that goes without saying. I'm just keeping this simple, no? So 60% ang Pinoy, but because of that provision, they cannot convene the board.
Each shareholder has to be represented in a board meeting. Mr.
No,
Chairman.
but can they convene or not convene?
Well,
Even though they have 60%.
they can convene,
They can convene, they can do business.
they have to suspend for like what I said, Mr. Chairman, twice. After that, if
No, so they cannot convene.
they cannot convene.
Yeah, the simple
twice,
answer is they
yeah.
cannot
Sir,
convene
sir.
until 2 times, no? But the Constitution is very clear that 60% should be owned by Filipinos, correct? And the reason for that is because Filipinos should make the decision, correct? But how can they make a decision if they cannot convene?
Well, that's the point, Mr. Chairman. They can still convene.
No, but that's after 3. But for example, there's something urgent. I need to change management tomorrow. I need to convene this afternoon. Can they convene or not?
Can you repeat that, Mr. Chairman?
Filipino kami, no? Filipino, they have 60%. I need to change management tomorrow. I call an emergency meeting today. Can the Filipino 60% convene or not?
Yes, they can do that.
Can they change the management?
Well, they can do that within the day.
No, can they change the management?
Within the day, they can change that as long as the 2 adjournments are complied with.
So they will adjourn and then adjourn?
Yes,
Yeah, but
they
what
can
if
do
there's a sense of urgency? I need to make a decision
You can still do that, Mr. Chairman.
on that same meeting.
Not on that same meeting because you have to adjourn, Mr.
But that's
Chair.
a de facto veto.
That's not a veto, Mr. Chairman.
But I cannot convene. I'm not, majority kami, 60%, but I cannot make any decisions. For me, that's a de facto veto by the minority.
Well, that's like what
And
I
that's not
explained.
what is being contemplated by the Constitution. The Constitution gave us 60% so we can make decisions. But if the foreigner, the Chinese, is vetoing our board meetings by that provision, then we cannot make any decisions. That's my point. My
Mr.
point is we're violating the Constitution
No,
because
Mr.
we cannot make a decision.
No, Mr. Chairman. In the first place,
Yung 2 meetings, pang palubag loob na lang yan eh. In 2 meetings, pang ano na lang
No,
yan eh. Parang, sige, para mag 2 meetings. But my point is, can we convene and make a decision right away in 1 meeting?
well, not in that.
Correct.
situation.
So, that veto sila.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the best thing that the Chinese shareholders can do in that situation is to
In this, makasingit lang po. So in this case, so parang nabaliwala yung pagiging majority ng mga Pilipino. Kasi ang decision ultimately ay dun sa minority.
No, Mr.
Diba?
Chairman,
Like
that's
what
not.
Senator Win is saying. Kasi, sir, umiikot kayo. Right there and then, the Filipino majority cannot make decision even na majority sa kanila, o even na nandoon silang lahat, even na may quorum. Kailangan talaga i-adjourn 2 beses. Oh,
May
diba?
I take a stab, Mr. Chair? At the end of the day, can they delay? Yes. Can they hold us hostage? No. Decisions can be made within the day, within the hours. It will take a few more documents, paperwork to be done. But the Filipinos, when it needs to, they can make decisions without the Chinese.
The bylaws, a notice of meeting, how many days?
5 days, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
But
so-
that can be waived.
Who will waive?
Any of the all of the shareholders, if they waive that notice requirement.
Paano kung hindi winave?
Well,
You're just saying it, that can be way para makalusot.
Mr.
Pero what
Chair,
if they...
the bylaws are there for a reason. For
But
further-
how sure are you na nasusunod po yung bylaws, sinusunod po ng Chinese?
well, even the Filipino shareholders have to.
No, but do you have records to show na hindi nangyari ito? Yung mga pinag-usapan natin dito, yung pinagdududahan namin?
Yes, Mr.
Pwede
Chairman.
ka magpakita ng records na right there and then nakapag-decision agad yung board na para i-allow yung mga Pilipino to continue with the board meeting?
No,
kahit
Mr.
walang
Chairman.
pagkais?
No, not in that situation, Mr. Chairman.
Well, yun ang sitwasyon na pinag-usapan natin
No,
dito.
because that hasn't happened, Mr. Chairman. So there is no record of that happening. That's what I've been.
Kaya nga yun nga sinasabi namin na pwedeng mangyari. Na kapag nangyari yun, dihado yung mga Pilipino, dihado yung mga majority. Pero sabi mo hindi pa nangyari yun, na pwedeng mangyari.
Well, hindi. That's
Para hindi nga mangyari, dapat baguhin na natin.
Mr. Chairman. The members of the board endeavor to work together all the time. They come to a consensus all the time. All of them attend meetings all the time. None of them are absent. If there is a board meeting and one is not physically present in the meeting, he has to log on.
But ang sinasabi po ng attorney ni Senator Win at ako, but there's that possibility na pwedeng mangyari yun. Di ba?
Mr.
No, I know you're saying it doesn't happen, pero it can happen.
Well, with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, I think,
Kaya nga para hindi na mangyari yun, dapat baguhin na natin yung procedure na yan.
in
Yung
fact,
policy na yan.
Mr. Chairman,
Para iwasan natin, bakit pa natin hintayin na mangyari yun? And then besides, how do we know that hindi nangyari yun?
if-
How do we know? Unless kung magpapakita pa kayo ng records na hindi nangyari yun.
uh,
Well, can you submit to
we
us all
actually,
the records sa lahat ng mga board meetings ninyo?
Mr. Chairman, actually, we have manifested in our last submission that we will be submitting those. We just need more time to collate because we have the volume of documents that we're going to submit. And
Board meetings? Ilang beses ba kayo nagbo-board meetings kada buwan? Is it every year? Every
every
leap
Mr.
year?
Chairman.
O every quarter lang pala. So ilang quarters lang ba? Magbigay ka ng example. O kunyari, magturo ako ng 26, 27, 8, 9, 10. So quarterly lang pala. So four times sa
We will submit, Mr.
four
Chairman.
times a year.
We will
So
submit.
voluminous ba yun yung board meeting nyo? In a certain year, magpakita kayo ng sample sa amin. Bakit sabi nyo, pinag-aaral nyo pa, kinukulit nyo pa?
Mr. Chairman, we have moved offices from Quezon City to San Juan. So our records
But
are
again,
there.
that cannot be the reason
know, Mr. Chairman.
you move.
That is why we, in our last.
Kasi kung nag-move kayo, dapat ibig sabihin, nawala yung mga papeles ninyo, kaya nahirapan
No,
kayo. So ibig
no,
sabihin,
Mr.
hindi kayo organized.
No, Mr. Chairman. That is why we manifested in our.
Kaya nga, you should never use the fact na we move. Yung mga salitang naglumipat kasi kami ng bahay, kaya hindi ko ma-provide yung dokumento, yun yung binibigyan ng mga negosyanteng
Apologize,
gustong
Mr.
umiwas na makapagbayad ng tama sa BIR. Nawawala pa kasi mga dokumento hiningi ng BIR, kaya sasabihin na ng palusot, lumipat kasi kami, nawawala yung mga dokumento hiningi ng BIR, pasensya na muna. Don't ever use that. Pang mga small time na mga negosyante, yung kayo big time.
Yes,
You
Mr.
shouldn't
Chairman.
use that.
I
Dapat organized kayo, dapat computerized kayo. Dapat hindi na mano-mano. With all the monies that you make by the billions, hindi mo na pwedeng palusot yan. Yung mga small time ng negosyante lang yan ang pwede magpalusot ng gano'n. Okay, sir?
We will be submitting.
Go ahead po, Senator Win.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, Mr. Chairman, in my view, that 60/40 requirement of the Constitution, especially for public utilities, is for Filipinos to always have control of the public utility because of public interest and
We agree, Mr.
national
Chairman.
security. So Filipinos can always be in control, management-wise, finance-wise, and the operations. But how can you be in control if you cannot call for a board meeting?
Mr. Chairman, like I said earlier, even the Supreme Court has recognized that. That's a legitimate minority.
Yes, for
protection
ordinary
rights.
corporations,
No, Mr.
maybe
Chairman.
for public utility.
Yes, Mr.
Is it
Chairman.
explicit public utility?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Can you show us the
I-
ruling
It
for public utility?
I'll have to go through that decision, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
give us the GR number.
I-
Hanapin
I
natin ngayon.
forgot, Mr. Chairman.
But how can you
What I'm
forget?
saying-
You cited a
No.
Supreme Court ruling that it's allowed for a public
Yes, Mr.
utility.
Chairman.
So that let educate the committee. Give me the GR number. I-flash natin. Give us the educate everyone. Attorney Concepcion.
We're looking for it, Mr. Chairman.
Diba, kasi I'm applying this to a scenario wherein the Filipino shareholders would want to change the management, exert control, but they cannot. So what's
Actually,
the
they
use
can-
of this?
they
What's the,
can.
then
In
what-
that
but what's the
situation,
use now of this 60/40 if I cannot call for a board meeting?
Hindi, makasingitin ano?
Yeah.
You've been mentioning that, I think 5 times na, yung Supreme Court ruling. So kung nagbabanggit po kayo ng Supreme Court ruling, pakibigay po sa amin yung ruling na yon. Yung GR number nga, sinasabi
Wala ko.
ni Senator Win. Otherwise, Huwag niyo na pong gamitin yung sinasabing
Yes, Mr.
palagi niyo
Chairman.
paulit-ulit for the fifth times yung sinasabi niyo meron pong Supreme Court ruling. So kung meron pong Supreme Court ruling, nasaan? So sorry attorney, before you open your mouth, dapat
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
alam mong sinasabi mo at back up yan ng dokumentong meron ka na sa harap mo na ginagamit mo na sinasabi mong Supreme Court ruling.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So wala ho kayo noon?
Uh,
Hindi mo
not with
matandaan?
me- Not with me right now. Mr.
Oh, so next time you're a lawyer. Dapat pag nasa korte ka, 'di ba? Pag magbanggit ka ng Supreme Court ruling, sasabihin mo yung ruling na 'yon, mag-specify mo kung ano yung ruling na 'yon. 'Di ba? Ganun dapat pag ang patakaran being a lawyer.
Well, preferably, Mr. Chairman.
'Di ba? Preferably.
Yeah.
Dapat. Pag nasa korte pa lang tayo, kung akong judge, pinagalitan na kita, sinabunan kita, baka pinalabas na kita sa korte. Kasi you're not doing your homework, babanggit-banggit kang Supreme Court ruling, tapos ngayon tatanungin ko sa'yo, anong ruling na 'yon, anong GR number na, hindi mo mabigay. Kung akong judge, palalabasin kita. Sasabihin ko, you're talking nonsense. This just shows, Attorney Dylan and Attorney Cynthia and everybody, na talagang the Chinese has the power to delay the board meeting over the Filipinos who has the majority. Ito lang yun po eh. Ito yung suma total dito eh. Na yung minority, yung Chinese, may power sila to delay the board meeting, to stop. Yun lang po yun. Yun lang po yung pinupoint out namin dito. So next time po again, Attorney Dylan, I'm really curious. Pwede ba paki-research mo ngayon sa mga staff mo yung pong sinasabi niyong Supreme Court
Yes,
ruling?
Mr.
Kasi yun yung palaging paulit-ulit binabanggit mo para medyo mapatigil kami. Dahil siyempre Supreme Court ruling, we will respect that. Sino ba naman kami para hindi respetuhan yan, di ba? Pero nung tinanong na ni Senator Win, hindi ka na makasagot kung ano yung Supreme Court ruling na yun.
I just forgot the title, Mr. Chairman, the case.
But, para sa akin, Mr. Chairman, in my interpretation, this is a very important safeguard to protect all of us Filipinos. But we sold ourselves to the devil by foregoing this safeguard. We cannot convene. If they say, no, I don't want to convene. For example, there's a sense of urgency. There's national security. We want to change everyone, all the management there. Only the board can do that. But they cannot convene. Mag-i-issue ka 5 days. Notice ng meeting. O sige, magmi-meeting tayo. Hindi sila sisipot, i-issue ka na naman another 5 days.
2.
2 pa, so 15 days. So what's the use of this safeguard? What's the use of that 60% being given to the Filipinos? I mean, I'm willing to be educated, Attorney Concepcion. I'm willing to be proven wrong. That's kung mali ako, then mali
Yes,
kami.
so do I.
Diba? But show us the Supreme Court ruling.
We'll submit that, Mr. Chairman.
But can you show us now? Para matapos na itong issue na ito.
We're looking for it, Mr. Chair.
Diba? That's a material, we have lawyers, ang dami natin abogado dito sa kwarto. Is any of the lawyers here can show us the
Maybe
Supreme Court
Attorney
ruling?
Balanta would know. Attorney Balanta?
Puro
alam mo,
abogado
yung-
sa likod namin eh.
O, puro attorney to. Attorney Donna, puro mga attorney. O, may professor pa. Professor Del Mundo. O, puro, ang gagaling naman tao. Attorney Suyat. O, alam niyo ba yun? Supreme Court. Yan, nag-research na sila. Pwede ba pag-research? Yung una maka-research, may premyo sa akin. O, bigyan ako ng premyo. O, hindi. Isang kabang cornic. Wala, may naka-research na? Wala, no? Any takers? Wala. Ayun, nagkakahirap na. Nagtutulong-tulong na sila doon. O, di ba? Nako, Mario Jose.
The exact ruling by the Supreme Court that for a public utility, this type of arrangement is constitutional. Yun lang, ganun kasimple lang. We're willing to be proven wrong. Kung mali kami, then we admit our...
Kasi kanina nung sinabi niya sa akin yan, Supreme Court ruling, medyo napatras ako. Buti na lang nag-follow up ka. Yung Supreme Court ruling na yun. So hindi niya, bigla rin siyang napa-stop din. Hindi niya mabigay-bigay sa atin. So,
May we have some time to look for it, Mr. Chair, because there is a Supreme Court ruling,
Nasa?
and we're going to look for it, but we will produce it if we can have like 5 minutes, a short recess for that, so that we can proceed, or we can, but we will produce the Supreme Court ruling and the
maybe
reference.
pwede niyo pong hingin yan, research doon sa mga alipores niyo, sa mga kasama niyo.
Yes, sir, they're doing it right now, but
Okay.
of course, it's taking a little bit of time. So if, just allow some time, but it's here.
Okay, Attorney Win?
I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Chairman. That's why I'm willing to be proven wrong, Mr. Chairman, by the lawyer.
Okay, sige.